Hey everybody, welcome to Room and Board. I'm wearing my official World Series of Board Gaming t-shirt, and you know why? See? People have said I always look better from behind. Now I know why they were saying that. And that is because that's what this video is all about. This video is me selling out and being a shill. No, wait, no, that's the Arby's video that's upcoming. No, this video is about the World Series of Board Gaming and why I legitimately think that you should attend this year, September 24th to the 28th. Now, you can see I'm wearing this shirt. You can see this setup as I'm going to re-switch it over back to my original / new accoutrements. Point salad. This is the same setup that I just had because I just filmed the newsletter recap for the World Series of Board Game. If you look, I even have my... Oh, that's not it. That was the comment picker. That was the YouTube comment picker for where we gave away a copy of Wingspan. If you don't know, I've been doing some giveaways over there. Those might migrate to Dice Tower. That's not what I'm talking about this time. I'm talking about this because, well, honestly, because part of the newsletter, and I'll get it out, and this may be double content for you that subscribe to both, and to you I say thank you so much, because I appreciate it since I'm running both of the channels. It's because as part of the newsletter, I had to announce that there's only 100 tickets, and really it's 96 because I think this came out, this morning, and there's been 4 people who purchased it. So I think it's 96 stay and play bundled deals that are left. This is the best value bundle, and if you know anything about this channel, which I'm sure you do, I want you to get the best value. So if you were contemplating about the World Series, that's why I want to make this video, to talk about my personal experience with it, what's been going on behind the scenes, and why I think you should come. And honestly, so it's prompted by 2 things, kind of both in the newsletter. One being the potential me needing to get you in on the best deal, because I got insider information, and I know this is the best deal in Vegas. Or maybe it's not. It might not be. If you can find a place to stay that's cheaper, do it. Just get the ticket price. Doesn't matter. You want to just attend a fun event without the stress of the tournament? That's fine. The ticket price is the same as Dice Tower West. Anyway, I'm getting way off track here. I need 5 reasons. I need 5 reasons to anchor me down. But the second reason why I do want to talk to you, there you go, we're back on task. The second reason is also because of a video that I made for the World Series recently, which was for testimonials. We had a testimonial contest. You could win a game. People submitted testimonials. 5 submissions for a video testimonial, 1 submission for a text testimonial. Why anybody would not just submit a video testimonial of them reading their text testimonial, I don't know, but people didn't. We gave away a game, but the people who did submit these sorts of testimonials about being excited to attend or what they enjoyed from the game, and honestly, I think I'm going to post it at the end of this video because I made it. I have the footage, and I might as well just post it here rather than send you off into another nether region of YouTube. But it honestly reminded me why I was and have been enjoying working for the company, because honestly, it's been a lot of work. There's been a lot of work that I've been doing behind the scenes to try to get this convention going, to make sure word is spread about it, to make sure everybody is informed, working with multiple people, channels, trying to figure out which videos on other people's channels are going to do well, so World Series could sponsor that video and run a little ad at the beginning so that more people could get to know about the event. I've taken charge of running their regional qualifiers and organizing those kind of across the country. I've been working with Our Family Plays Games and Jason from Shelf Stories and our previous winner and a previous competitor on a little diversity committee and making sure that it is an absolute safe space for everybody to be in, and that it is warm and welcoming, and that we can put forward the most welcoming environment that we can. And then hearing the testimonials of people who had been there last year and found it to already be so, and found it to be an open and fun environment, both in the tournament setting and in the open gaming setting, that everybody could just be there and have fun and celebrate playing board games, and hearing about people witnessing the strategy tips that were given to them at a table where you're playing at an elimination round and people are giving you strategy tips. You're like, oh no, you probably shouldn't do that. Like that, it's just the environment that I really wanted to foster, and is an environment of a place where people can just play games and have fun at an event for 5 days. it reminded me why I have been enjoying this and why I am proud to work for this company and to push forward. And I can legitimately say that, like, I think it's a good experience. Now we'll talk about the price, and I'll put my cheapy old Chris spin on it. Of course, right? As I am legally obligated to do here on Room and Board. But I wanted to take a moment to share my excitement and share why I do think it is a potentially good thing to do. And that's pretty much it. I just shared it. It's the environment, it's the atmosphere. Well, I mean, you could win $25,000 playing board games. That's also a draw. But I feel like if you go in with that idea, there's going to be sort of pressure on yourself, at least for me. Like, I wanted to participate in this thing. I did. And then I thought, no, you know what? I'll put myself forward to host, see if I could host the thing. And then they said, well, we're going to get somebody who people actually, give a shit about. But we like you, so why don't you help us run things behind the scenes? That's how I got involved in the streaming. I've been running the streaming, and I'm basically, my title over there is Director of Production. So also take this with a grain of salt, that the company, this friggin' video is all over the place, and I apologize for that. I like to have these things structured. I don't like to waste your time. But I am being paid by the company. I work for them part-time, and my work is all of those things that I said. And so if you don't trust my opinion, well, then I guess I'm lying to you. But there's nothing in my contract that says I have to make one of these videos at all. I don't. I just wouldn't if I didn't think it was a good time. But because I do think it is a good time, that's why I do want to talk about it. And because I didn't come in with a plan, that's why I've cut out all the pauses. So honestly, let's talk about the price. Let's break it down. Let's get into that as if it were a crowdfunding countdown. This is our event. Oh, okay, here's another reason why you may want to buy a ticket for this year. And I kind of mentioned this in the newsletter too, so apologies if you've seen both and I'm repeating myself. But you can see that 959 Ring event seats are sold for 2023. Seems like a pretty big number, but it's also over the course of 4 days. If you think you're kind of good at all at playing board games and you're in it for the money, well, your chances have never been better than right now. And your chances actually were the best last year, and you really missed out because there were less people last year. And it's the natural progression of these things that there will be more people next year than there will be this year, right? Provided this year doesn't end up being a Fire Island situation and we just give everybody sandwiches and a toothbrush. I forget. I didn't see the documentary. Somebody made a joke about that though, when this thing kind of came up out of nowhere, and it did. I feel like it did kind of come up out of nowhere because it's run by people who have run conventions in the past but aren't like really huge in the board gaming space. They're like, hey, we see this as an opportunity to bring board gaming to the world stage because there's a heck of a lot of people who like board gaming, and there's a heck of a lot more interesting strategy than you can get from darts or poker, right? I'm paraphrasing, but that's how I feel. And so, if you are interested, I'm just saying, it's gonna be cheaper this year than next year, and you're gonna have a better chance of winning this year than next year. And then you get to capitalize on that fund for the whole time. That's not what I wanted to talk about. 24 minutes and 18 seconds? That can't be right. I think it's earlier. I honestly think it's earlier. I think it's 122 days. Better get on it. If you don't know how the World Series of Board Gaming works, well, I'm going to tell you right now. You can watch this video or you can just listen to me. If you do, you can skip ahead to the next timestamp. World Series Board Gaming, you basically have 16 different mini tournaments. Where's the list of the games? Here are the games as I scroll through them. You have 16 tournaments. You'll have a Terraforming Mars tournament, and these are called ring events. The reason they're called ring events is because you win a friggin' bomb $2,000 ring that's got the name of the game and the sponsor etched in on the sides and like diamonds on the top that says World Series. I don't know what the design is going to be for this year, but that's how it was for last year. And man, oh man, I say this every time I talk about it. I wanted to quit. I wanted to quit so that I could go and I could enter and I could win one of those rings because they're just so friggin' cool. So you have one of these 16 tournaments: Arc Nova, Castles of Burgundy, Cascadia, Dune Imperium, Seven Wonders, Wingspan, Brass Birmingham, Patchwork Acquire. You have all these games, and you will play in a tournament of these games. And you'll go up through that tournament until you win the ring, and then when you win the ring, you move on to the semifinals of the main event. You'll have 2 more rounds to get through. There'll be 16 winners, up to 16 winners, because up to 16 rings. All of those winners will play a random game out of the 16 that they have not yet won. So if you won Wingspan, you're the winner of Wingspan, we're going to randomly draw out the games. Wingspan on table 1 is Wingspan. You, as the Wingspan winner, you're sitting at table 2. So that's how it kind of gets divided out. You're going to play something that you've never played, never won in the tournament, but a random game out of the 16, because the goal is to find out the world's best all-around board gamer. So you have to play more than one game, right? And if you win that game, you then move on to the final round. It'll be a table of 4, where you will play another random game that you haven't won. So Wingspan is out, and whatever game you won in the semifinals is out, in addition to all of the other competitors' same qualifications, and you get one blind veto. So everybody gets to eliminate one game that they're like, man, I do not want to play Brass, or I do not want to play Gaia Project. Actually, in the Dice Tower West finals, somebody eliminated Splendor because he was a heavier gamer. And he's like, listen, I'm not that good at Splendor. So he was able to take out Splendor. You can take out whatever game you want, but it's a blind veto. So if everybody picks the same game, only that one game will go out. Makes it a little bit more fair so that you don't get to see what the first person picks and say, haha, I was between 2 and now I get 2 eliminations, right? So you do that, then you play the final game. The final game is chosen out of those. You play that. If you win $25,000 US, which is like a bajillion in Canadian. If you make it second on the final table, you get $10,000. Third gets $5,000. Fourth gets $1,000 US. So pretty good. So now that you know what it's about, let's talk about the prices. Because it just kind of makes sense if you're thinking about purchasing a ticket. Oh, I thought it went up. It didn't go up. If you're thinking about purchasing a ticket, prices are important. The other stuff that you can do are these outer ring tournaments. They're just smaller tournaments where you can win basically your entry into next year if you win. And they're capped at like 64 people. So if you play in all of those, your chances of winning are pretty high. So here are the prices. Here are the prices. Now, this is where the sticker shock kind of sets in for me personally as a cheapy person, because you're like, okay, it's an expensive price. The best price package is the stay and play package, which is $999. More for me in Canada. Although we did have a Canadian come in third last year, and oh, I was so thrilled. This gives you 4 nights hotel stay in Vegas, though, plus an entry into 4 ring events. All you can game for when you happen to be knocked out of the competition, plus access to all the events, all the outer ring tournaments, all the sort of shows that we have planned. It hasn't been announced yet, and I just want to tell you all because it's on my channel, but I might get in trouble if I do. Anyway, we're going to have like a comedy show, you know, there's trivia, there's big games of stuff. Lots of stuff is happening. Just think your general events, like they're going to be good events. That's it. That's with the hotel stay, and that's including the stupid Vegas hotel fees, which I got to tell you, man, oh man, do I hate Vegas hotel fees. It's mind-blowing. They charge you for breathing. Well, that makes sense because they're constantly pumping oxygen into the place to keep people up and keep people gambling. But like if you're getting a hotel room on the Strip, for context, Saturday night, like on a weekend, you'd be getting Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night with the package. Saturday night is already like going up because there are other things happening in town. It's already something ridiculous, like $300. It's mind-blowing, but that's what you pay for hotels in Vegas. So even just considering that you're going to Vegas, which is naturally expensive, and you can get 4 ring entries, 4 chances in that big tournament, plus everything else that comes with a fun playing a game convention, with those sorts of little things, that's how I personally can justify saying that I think it's a legitimately good deal. It's only gone up $99 from last year. It was $900 the first year, and it's $999 this year, really just because a hotel increases, right? The hotels increase their fees every year. So that's the best package that you should get if you are interested in attending. But there are other packages too, and I think honestly the next best package is not necessarily this 4-ring game pass or 2-ring or 1-ring. It's the same thing. You just get 1 or 2 or 4 entries into the tournament, and it kind of scales up, 250, 350, 450. These are kind of a little bit more on the pricier side from any other playing convention. And the reason being is because, well, the pot's got to come from somewhere. Someone's winning $250,000. Nope. Well, that's quite a lot of money, but also if someone's winning $25,000, which is the actual prize, which is still a mind-boggling amount of money to me, US, so that money's kind of got from somewhere. The other way to experience this, if you're thinking about coming, is this Outer Ring Game Pass. This is basically you get all the privileges of the convention, you just don't participate in that main tournament. So if you're scared about, like, you don't think you're that good, or you like just gaming for fun, or all of those sorts of things that I think are really legitimate, right? Like, some people just aren't competitive. Some people just don't enjoy that sort of level of competitive gaming, or pushing their skills or learning. Like me personally, I love playing against people who are really good because I learn so much from watching them. Renee would be shouting off screen if she were home. She'd say, "That's because you're a computer." Generally, if we play a game together, Renee and I, she'll often win on the first time, and then she'll say, "Oh, I'm never winning that again," because I'm like, "Oh, yes, you saw the pathway. Thank you. Let me absorb that information and like try to, assimilate myself into a higher level." So that's the sort of stuff that I really like, because I like playing games and I like solving those puzzles and those efficiency puzzles. But I also recognize that that's not the only way people play games, and so that's why with this tier, it's the same price as going to Dice Tower West. It is. It's theirs is $150. They generally will have an early bird. If you're interested in going to Dice Tower West, also a cool convention, also happens in Vegas. But I'm really happy we included this because it gives that sort of non-competitive tier while still maintaining the sort of competitive aspect. Because you get access, we honestly just included this because we're having the Dice Throne National Championships in our event, and we didn't think it was fair to make someone purchase a ticket to the main tournament if all they were interested in was the lower stakes Dice Throne one, right? You may just want to go do the Dice Throne one. That kind of makes sense. And so with that, we had these Outer Ring tournaments, they were called. They're just the smaller tournaments on the outside. And so with this, we're still kind of able to hit our mandate of competitive gaming, because they don't want to be a convention. They want to be a different event, right? The main focus when creating this and when thinking about the events to have and the different things to have going on, the main focus has been, we're not a convention, we're an event, we're a vacation, we're an experience, right? Like the distinction should be there in like actual content that you get from when you purchase versus just it being marketing speak. Because yeah, you can call yourself an experience all you want, but if you're not an experience, then that's just garbage, right? That's why I think this is the second best choice, right? You're still going to have to figure out accommodation. And if you find that here, you find that at some other place, I don't care. I was just down there for a site visit to work out the floor plan because of doing the streaming. And then we were walking around afterwards and we were thinking about going to see a show if we could get tickets. And this one place, it was clearly like a timeshare pitch. They're like, "Oh, but you can come back and stay at our place for free as long as you go and listen to this 4-hour presentation." And I was like, well, I'm not interested, but honestly, there are some cheap board gamers who I know who might be interested. So I know they have those sorts of things in Vegas, but I also was talking to my accountant who loves going to Vegas. And she said that she used to do that all the time, and then they start making those deals a little bit inconvenient. And so they give you inconvenient times to try to make sure that you can't fulfill the actual contracts of that obligation, and then you have to pay for the hotel because they get you on the hook. They're like, and then you're just like, screw it, I'll pay for the hotel. So if you're doing that gambit, for sure do it. But just keep in mind that it's not always going to be as great a deal as it might seem. Anyway, this is taking the accommodation factor out of the equation, and this is just considering, do you want to go to this event and pay the minimum cost? And if you do, then there is a ticket price that hits that minimum cost. So I think this is the second best option on attending, is honestly this $150 thing, right? Because you can't really get a guest pass if you don't know somebody who's participating in the event. That again goes back to that competitive gaming mandate, that they want to make sure that there's enough room in the open gaming library for all the people who are playing in the tournament to come out and like have a space to sit and make sure they have a nice time, and that that it isn't just full with people who are only there for that when they are paying a little bit more for that sort of tournament experience, and well, they should make sure that they have spots into other spaces. So that's the consideration behind that, is to keep it focused on that sort of tournament play. But the Outer Ring Game Pass is kind of the compromise to that, in order for people who are a bit more budget conscious and aren't interested in the tournament setting to go and attend. And honestly, I think in either case, I think you're going to have a great time. The goal here is that even if you go in for a 4-ring pass and you get knocked out in the first round of every one of the games, that you are still getting enough gaming and enough value to warrant your purchase price. And I honestly believe that is the case. I do. I honestly believe it is the case. And you know how cheap I am. But again, you also know that I've been behind the scenes, right? Like, I know how hard I've been working. I know how hard the team works, and I know like the feeling and the genuine work ethic and like motivation behind the team. It's a very small team of these people trying to organize this thing. Big plans and big dreams with like a small workforce. So everybody's hustling. But like, also knowing that, like, I also recognize that I cannot be 100% objective, because I am putting my effort into it, right? And a lot of my effort is on the streaming side and on like the production side, but I still get to witness the events that are being planned and that sort of thing. Oh, also, yeah, you see the friggin' marketing that has to happen because of sticker shock, right? Like, this hotel reservation is $125, and then you have to get your resort fee, and you're getting half off your resort fee, because literally the resort fee is so stupid. And then there's the $20 tax, so it's actually $165 for a hotel night. But we had to include that hotel reservation section with like a breakdown of what the fees are, etc. Because on any friggin' casino website, they'll say, hey, you can get yourself a room for like $75, and you're like, oh wow, and they're like, yeah, by the way, it's $100 worth of hotel resort fees, and you're like, I don't want the resort, I just want the bed. They're like, too bad, pony up the money or get the heck out. So we had to do that breakdown, because I saw so many comments of people being like, oh, they're overcharging for the hotel. I look on Bally's website, it was Bally's back in the day, I look on the website and I can see that what they're charging for a hotel room is more expensive than what the hotel is. I'm like, that's not the case. Like, it just isn't. And if it is, great, book through them, I don't care. But it won't be, right? Like, I can really confidently say that it won't be. That's just, just a note, since we were going through the prices, etc. That's why that's there, but it's actually like $165 a night, and that's at the discounted rate, whereas normally you'll pay more than that, unless you get one of those awesome hotel deals, which they do throw out. But like, when you're working on this scale, that can absolutely work for an individual, and I think it's definitely worth pursuing, and save that money and then buy yourself a game with the money that you saved. I think it's absolutely worth pursuing. This video has ended up being a me long rambling. That's not how you say it. You can tell this video has been long. But let's break down the pertinent points so that everyone can just skip to this timestamp, where it's Chris not being an idiot, rambling idiot who said idiot twice like an idiot, and the actual kind of points of why to come here. What we've covered so far, and then I'm going to give a couple more. The covered so far is that if you're cheap like me, the best deal packages are liable to sell out, and you should pull the trigger on those now, because the casino won't give us the rate for more than those rooms, because casinos are the devil. And number two, the environment here, and this legitimately was the reason why I wanted to talk about it, and I felt good about making a video on this channel, is because of the response and the experience from people previously. Like I'm legitimately so touched, and it makes me emotional, because like this is out of nowhere. Okay, get it together. I value people's time and money so much. I really do. And the fact that people are saying, hey, yes, I did spend this amount, which is a lot. Like, I get it. It's a lot to me. But I did spend this amount, and I did have myself a really good time, and I feel like it was worth it. Like, that's what I want, right? I want anything that I can provide and anything that I have a part in to feel like it's worth it. and people to feel like, oh yeah, I did get value from that. Like that's my Chris George personal mandate. The fact that that happened just makes me really proud. And I think it is. I think it is a decent deal compared to what you would just pay for 4 nights in Vegas anyway. You also get this game convention. I know the amount of stuff that's going to go on there to make it a cool, fun deal. And honestly, we just have a huge friggin' board gaming library. I think I've talked about conventions in the past. Remember, this isn't a convention, it's an experience, it's an event. But it is an event. It's an event. It's like a playing games convention. I kind of consider those to be events. And this, we want to make it more Vegas-y, but that similar type of event. But there's something really nice about treating yourself with this sort of board game vacation. And people who have gone to conventions in the past, sound off in the comments about why you liked it, why you didn't. I also totally recognize that for those sort of game playing conventions, you could absolutely just stay in your own house and make your own convention. And I'm a huge advocate for that. Just make sure you get people to pony up $25,000 and then you can have the exact same experience, right? Honestly, too, on the down low, not on the down low, it's pretty much on the website. 959, you have to assume that most of those are stay and play packages. And you have to assume that because I'm telling you to assume that. Or that just makes the most sense, right? Like from a math standpoint. Although I don't think there are, I think if you divide that by 4, we actually have a few more people playing. But if you divide that by 4, that's the number of things happening on a daily basis, right? So you kind of have to think about that as like your daily basis. And then you can divide that by 4 again, because there's going to be 4 games a day, as to the approximate number of people who are participating in each event. And that's who you have to beat. That's how you get one of those rings. And honestly, if you get one of those rings, there is no world in which that price point is not worth coming home with one of those rings. I swear. And if anyone fights me on that, I'm gonna get one of those rings. I'll meet you in a back alley. So that's something to consider. That your chances are good if you're interested in that competitive setting, and if you're not, that there is going to be enough fun things to do with good people because I said so. And I know the people who were there last year, and legitimately every person who I talked to, like every single person, I would be absolutely happy to go sit down at a game night or play a game with them. I feel like I would have a good time. That's not often the case with board gamers. I know. And I'm sure that there, might be a couple people who are different than you that you may be like, that was awkward. But we're an awkward bunch, board gamers, so get used to it. Yeah, legitimately, I can't think of a single person who I wouldn't have wanted to sit down and play a game with. So if you are interested, get your tickets now and go check out if your favorite influencer has a discount code. Because I've tried to spread those out to every single board game YouTuber out there. So if you have a person who you like to watch other than me, I understand. I mean, I'm hesitant because I'm a bit jealous, but I get that I can't be the only YouTuber in your life. At least I say that to myself in the mirror every day when I wake up, just to make sure I'm okay with it. But if you have a favorite YouTuber, for sure they have a code that will get you $40 off. So it's actually $4.59. No. Yeah, it's actually $9.59 or $4.10 for the full package. If you do that, you get $40 off, which I love. I don't have one of those codes because I felt it would be a bit scummy to have one, honestly, because I do so much work for them. And I was like, I don't want to be trying to get additional money as well, because if you use your code of any of those YouTubers or people who have them, we give them like $10 as well, as like a thank you for directing people to the World Series. And it's that way for a number of reasons. It incentivizes them to actually use the code and talk about it, because I know I've gotten codes before and I've said no. And it also helps us track who people want to see, because we're bringing a bunch of board game personalities to Vegas to do the commentary, to play games in the open gaming area, and to just chill around and have a good time. So if that sort of thing interests you, it interests some people, it doesn't others, whatever you like. That sort of thing interests you as well. It's also helpful to track and to make sure we bring the people that the people who are coming want to see. That just kind of makes sense, right? So make sure you find one of those codes. Go to anyone who you like who's not me. They'll have a code. Figure that out. And yeah, that's it. Cheap Chris is going to put on his hat. while this is a fun time that I am absolutely proud of and would love to see you all there at, I also recognize that Vegas is a long way away for a lot of people. Plane tickets can sometimes be expensive, or travel can sometimes be expensive, and the ticket price can be expensive as well. And I totally understand if you're like me and don't really take trips and don't have that money to spend willy-nilly. And to that I say, what the damn hell are you doing backing all those expensive Kickstarters? Take one of them out of contention and come to Vegas, ya friggin' ninnies. But if that's not you, probably isn't, because nobody who backs Kickstarter really tunes into Room and Board. It just doesn't really. We don't talk about Kickstarter that much on this channel. Legitimately though, like, you're Marvel United, you're all in Marvel United for all those 3 waves. You could have come to Vegas. And absolutely this is better than Marvel United. Sorry, Marvel United. I was like, oh no, am I talking in an official capacity? I'm like, it's not competitive, and also I don't like it. And I don't. But yeah, like, when I thought about that and putting that into perspective, I was like, oh yeah, a bloated Kickstarter that just sits on your shelf, or like a chance to win $25,000 and play fun games for 5 days. You make the choice. Honestly, I know some people will prefer that bloated Kickstarter that sits on their shelf, and that's completely fine. But seriously, I went off on that tangent as well. But like, if you don't have the money, don't stress. Legitimately, don't stress. It's a lot of money. I would never want to pressure you into coming. You can tune into the coverage if you want to see some of the gameplay. I'm going to edit and stream all of the games, and the ones that we don't stream, we're going to be putting on the World Series YouTube channel as well. So if you feel like watching gameplay and you enjoy watching some gameplays, that's what's going to happen this year as well. So really, a convention is never a reason, or a trip is never a reason to spend outside your means. And if it will provide you stress down the line of having to pay this off, don't do it. I care about your time and your value, I think, and your wallets, and I know it's a lot. And I know that it would be a hard sell for me to pay that much money to come to this event if I didn't know the experience that people had. So that's all I'm trying to do, is convey that experience, convey that people did have a good time, that it could be potentially worth it for you. But if it isn't, that's completely okay as well. However, if it is within your means, I hope you consider it. I really do, because I think it's going to be a good time. And I really am working hard to make it a good time. So that's it. That's all I'm going to say finally for this video. I feel like, how long I've been talking? I'm so sorry. I got to edit this down in some capacity. Jesus, 40 minutes. Well, that's when it's edited. When I edit the pauses out, it probably was like 30 minutes, right? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what the editing does. I edit the pauses. I edit out my stops and starts and my fumbles and some of my tangents. We could get this within 5 reasons range. I think that's reasonable. And hey, I just appreciate you being here with me. And if you happen to be a fan of the channel, well, then now you know a little bit more about what I've been doing with my job at World Series of Board Gaming. So thanks so much for watching. My name is Chris George, and I do not have a catchphrase, but you know what? The World Series of Board Gaming does have a catchphrase. They've got like 2. They have like, get in the game, and then now I've said like, see you in Vegas, and then there was another one too that I can't remember right now because my brain is just screaming at me that it's "we're in the money," and I know that's not right. But every time I finish one of the newsletters, I have to say their catchphrase, and it just feels so weird. So I may never have a catchphrase at this point, because having one just feels weird, you know? I think that's all I was trying to say. Thanks for being here. Honestly, thank you for watching this entire long one. I feel like those of you who stayed until the end, like, I'm just really appreciative, because it feels like you want to hang out with me and you kind of care what I have to say and what else that I've been doing. So like, that means a lot, because I know it's not game specific, and so it's kind of cool when people stick around for non-like specific game stuff. So I appreciate you, and see you guys all later.
Hi, my name's Nick, and I'm looking forward to the World Series of Board Gaming 2023 in Las Vegas. I'm mostly excited about taking part in the ring events on all 4 days, and equally excited to compete in the Dice Throne Championships, which is one of my favorite board games. I love playing board games, mostly for the fun of it, but I thought I'd try my luck at winning it all. So best of luck to all the board gamers attending, and see you guys in September.
The World Series of Board Gaming 2022 was amazing. What I liked the most was the incredible mix of games that were played there. From classic games to the hottest new releases, from easy to learn gateway games to the most complex and challenging ones. There was really something for every type of board gamer out there. This series is an awesome incentive to play more games, make new friends from all over the world, improve on your abilities, tactics, and strategy, and prove that you're truly the best.
What I loved about the 2022 World Series of Board Games, and pretty much the singular reason I wanted to return, was just the community aspect of it. There's a tournament, and everybody's there for the tournament, trying to be on point for their games. But outside of that, the general play area was incredibly light-hearted, warm, welcoming. There wasn't a table I couldn't sit down at. There wasn't a question I couldn't ask. And for especially a first-year event, for everything to be that organically nice, that organically togetherness, was pretty special. It's like I definitely see other events where it's like you go to and you still like feel like I'm a bit apprehensive about sitting down or asking questions, but no, it's like I sat down with content creators, board game personality figures, with no barrier in that at all. It was just that atmosphere alone, more than the tournament, made it worth returning for 2023.
Hello, World Series of Board Gaming. I'm Jacopo Marcelletti. So what really excites me of the 2023 tournament that I'm going to play is, of course, the fact that I'm going to play and hopefully win the Terraforming Mars tournament. That is the game that completely changed my life, and after the pandemic, it completely changed my mental status, and it helped me to lose 60 pounds almost of weight, so I can't really wait to play that tournament, honestly. And that's the main reason why I'm coming. It was super exciting last year. This year I'm gonna make it. No mistakes, hopefully. And we're gonna get that ring.
I'd like to share some of my favorite things about the World Series of Board Gaming. I got to compete in 4 different events in 2022, and despite it being a competitive event, the atmosphere was super friendly. Everyone was really helpful. They would even give you strategies, people you were going to play against. It was amazing. Another thing I loved was the thrill of competing. That adrenaline rush is like nothing else when you get to the table, like you feel the nerves hit you. I know some people don't like that, but I love that. It's also nice to find like-minded gamers who are playing at a higher level, and you learn from their strategy, and it helps you improve by watching them or by taking suggestions even. I also like to test my skill at these games and really see if the practice that I've been putting into them has really helped me. And of course, bragging rights for winning. I didn't win any ring events, but I did win 1 game of Dune Imperium in the preliminary round, so still can brag about that. Another thing I love though, and I think this might be my favorite thing, is the casual gaming that they had there at the World Series of Board Gaming. Not everyone there was always competing, so sometimes we just played to have fun or to practice for events that were coming up. Also played in some side tournaments, and those are lower stakes, but they were really fun. And they had some trivia contests, and I won myself a copy of Barrage. So there's all kinds of reasons to go to the World Series of Board Gaming.